He doesn't just say it once, he repeats it endlessly, as though sheer repetition could transform ignorance into wisdom or amplify it into truth. A foolish man clings to a script, not a strategy, not a philosophy, just a threadbare, broken script. One riddled with the same predictable lines, each revealing far more about his weakness than he might ever comprehend. You've heard these lines before. Maybe you've even uttered them yourself, and each time they pull you further away from power, from control, from becoming the kind of man whose presence commands respect the moment he steps into a room. Machiavelli warned us about wasting words, reminding us that speech betrays thought. And where your mind resides, there, your strength either flourishes or collapses. The first thing a foolish man says is, "That's just how I am." At first glance, it might seem like self-awareness, but in truth, it is apathy dressed as honesty, self-sabotage masquerading as acceptance. It's the anthem of the undisciplined, the excuse of a coward who refuses to change. When someone says, "That's just how I am," what they're actually admitting is, "I don't want to change," or worse, "I've stopped even trying." They confuse character with fate, believing their flaws are fixed and unchangeable. Yet Machiavelli argued that man could shape himself as a sculptor shapes clay. Your instincts may pull you in one direction, but your choices determine where you ultimately go. A powerful man studies his shortcomings like maps, traces their origins, maps out their consequences, and slowly, methodically, sets out to re-engineer them. A foolish man, on the other hand, romanticizes his flaws. He cloaks them in misguided pride and calls it authenticity. In doing so, he becomes a willing slave to his base impulses. That single phrase, "That's just how I am," has destroyed more potential than failure ever could. Because failure teaches, failure humbles. But this mindset, it slams the door on growth and tosses away the key. Worse still, it signals to others that self-mastery is beyond your grasp, or worse, that you don't even care to pursue it. It confirms that you're not a strategist, but a captive, choosing to call his prison freedom. Now focus on the second thing a foolish man often says. "I don't care what people think." It may sound bold at first, but in reality, it often serves as nothing more than a protective shield. There's a critical distinction between refusing to be ruled by public opinion and pretending those opinions don't exist. A Machiavellian thinker doesn't disregard others' perceptions. He examines them, manipulates them, wields them as tools, weapons, mirrors, or masks. A fool declares, "I don't care what people think," striding into the world naked, oblivious to how his image molds his influence. Here's the truth. You should care what certain people think, the right people. Avoid their judgments at your own peril. Power lies in mastering perception and wielding it with intention. Machiavelli grasped a profound truth. True intelligence is rooted in patience. It listens, even to fools, recognizing that every fool offers a glimpse into how the masses think. A wise person, when hearing something familiar, doesn't interrupt, but instead inquires, "How do you see it?" Or, "What do you mean by that?" Repetition deepens understanding, and revisiting ideas from fresh perspectives can reveal overlooked insights. In contrast, a foolish person dismisses knowledge prematurely. They wear their understanding as armor, not to shield themselves from falsehoods, but to protect their ego from confronting uncomfortable truths. By feigning mastery, they ensure they'll never grow. This single flaw often traps people for years. They skim through one book, watch one video, or have one fleeting experience and presume they've grasped the entirety of the topic. From that point, they cease observing, questioning, and refining, stagnating while blaming external circumstances, blind to the fact that their pride halted their evolution. One hallmark of this mindset is the phrase, "It's not my fault." This excuse spreads like a disease, seeping into their relationships, careers, and self-perception. Failures become others' responsibility. Shortcomings are pinned on scapegoats. What begins as an occasional excuse turns into a mantra until it becomes their reality. Machiavelli cautioned against such self-deception. He understood that gaining control over one's destiny requires first acknowledging its existence. It belongs to you, shaped by your actions. Even in the face of betrayal, deceit, or manipulation, refusing accountability only surrenders agency. By failing to own your story, you unknowingly allow others to write it for you. While a foolish person shies away from responsibility because it implies blame, a strong individual embraces it because blame offers leverage. If it's your fault, you hold the power to fix it, adjust, strategize, and try again with sharper focus. But if blame always lies elsewhere, you're stuck waiting for apologies, luck, or a helping hand. Responsibility is the foundation of strategic thinking. Deflection is the anchor that holds the weak in place. Then there's one of the most insidious killers. It's too late. This declaration carries the weight of resignation, as though time has buried all ambition. To such a person, age is a barrier rather than a tool, and missed opportunities are dead ends rather than chances for redirection. The moment an endeavor demands more effort or time than anticipated, they retreat behind the comfort of defeat. "It's too late" becomes a convenient lie to mask wasted time. It's easier to surrender than to admit missteps or laziness. Machiavelli would never wallow over lost chances. Instead, he'd focus on exploiting the present, seeking cracks in systems, breaking through barriers, and creating new paths if none existed. A strategist doesn't accept artificial limits. Time is not a straight line to him, but a tool to be manipulated. A well-timed move, executed with precision, even after delays, can still reshape the entire game. The foolish man sees time emotionally. Regret clouds his thinking and distorts his logic. But for the wise strategist, every moment holds potential, the opportunity to transform setbacks into victories. Machiavelli understood that power does not wait for perfect circumstances. It thrives in the present, amidst chaos and under pressure. Every moment you delay, you place a heavier burden on your future self. You teach your mind that your words lack conviction, eroding your own authority. Those observing you also learn not to take you seriously because you fail to take yourself seriously. The world belongs to those who act decisively while others hesitate. The future is shaped by those who move now, not by those who make hollow promises about later. A true strategist knows that tomorrow is an illusion, a mirage that immobilizes the weak. This is why Machiavelli spoke of fortune as something to be seized, not awaited. Fortune favors the bold, not for its glamour, but for its immediacy. A foolish person waits for the perfect moment. A powerful person creates it. Here lies the tragedy. These seemingly small, everyday phrases carry more weight than they appear. That's just how I am. I don't care what people think. I already know that. It's not my fault. It's too late. I'll do it tomorrow. Such statements might seem harmless, even trivial, but together they construct a mental cage. They become the framework for a mind that cannot rise above mediocrity, a mind incapable of holding power because it lacks accountability, even to itself. Words aren't mere sounds. They are signals, contracts, and commitments. When repeated often enough, they cease to be mere language and evolve into identity. Every time a foolish person says, "That's just how I am," they cement part of themselves into immovable stone. With "I don't care what people think," they close off another window to self-awareness. With "I already know that," they shut the door to growth. With "It's not my fault," they relinquish their power. With "It's too late," they waste another precious hour of life. And with "I'll do it tomorrow," they extinguish the only moment that truly matters, the present. Contrast this with the mindset of a strategist. A strategist is no stranger to mistakes or fear, but remains vigilant over their language, knowing it's more than communication. It's programming. Language molds the mind, habits, and destiny. Instead of saying, "That's just how I am," the strategist says, "I can change this." Instead of "I don't care what people think," they say, "I will influence what people think." Instead of "I already know that," they say, "Tell me more." Instead of "It's not my fault," they take responsibility. Instead of "It's too late," they look for alternative paths forward. And instead of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," they act now, no matter how small the step. This shift is not abstract poetry. It's practical wisdom. It's how influence grows and respect is earned. People may admire your victories, but they study your words. Your words teach others how to treat you, revealing whether you are a leader or a liability. A foolish person believes words are cheap, but a powerful one understands they are the first and strongest form of action. Here's an often overlooked truth. People rarely recognize power at first glance through wealth or attire. Instead, they sense it through language. How someone speaks about themselves, frames their challenges, and sets expectations. This is precisely why Machiavelli emphasized the critical importance of perception and appearance. People are naturally drawn to certain traits without fully understanding why. It's instinctual, driven by biology. In every social group, the individual who speaks sparingly but with focused intent tends to hold the highest regard. Take notice in any setting. This principle never fails. Now imagine embodying that presence while cutting out 6 detrimental phrases from your vocabulary. Consider what it would mean if you stopped saying phrases like, "That's just how I am," and instead viewed your identity as something you refine and sharpen daily. Visualize replacing "I don't care what people think" with "I control what they perceive." What if "I already know that" became "Let's improve it further," or "It's not my fault" shifted to "my actions, my consequences"? Transform "it's too late" into "this timing is in my hands," and erase "I'll do it tomorrow" with immediate, decisive action. What kind of person would that make you? You would become the type of individual someone like Machiavelli would stand shoulder to shoulder with during a palace coup. Strategic, composed, relentless. A figure who listens intently when needed, speaks with precision, and remains unaffected by applause because actions alone define them. A person others describe as different, the one who doesn't waste words, who refuses to play trivial games. That whispered reputation that shadows your name becomes invaluable, more than 1,000 speeches could ever convey. It all begins with a commitment to eliminate those 6 phrases and let the version of yourself that relied on them fade into obscurity. No fanfare, no dramatic reveal, just quiet yet profound changes. Slowly, you catch yourself. You reshape your mindset before the words even leave your lips. You pause. You adapt. Over time, something remarkable happens. You take command, not just of others, but of yourself. When you tell yourself to act, you follow through without hesitation. When patience is required, you summon it. When it's time to let go, you unburden yourself completely. This level of internal mastery is the essence of power that Machiavelli would equate to governing a state, because a man incapable of ruling himself cannot lead anything else. But if he can, if he develops mastery over language, presence, and timing, then no permission is required for his ascent. The world naturally aligns itself to structure and clarity, not meaningless noise. So here's the challenge. Begin auditing your words, not for mere grammar or surface-level politeness, but for any signs of weakened resolve or misplaced control. Does what you're saying drain energy? Is it ceding authority? Is it a pre-built excuse masquerading as part of your personality? Approach every day with these questions, because your words are always building something, either the foundations of an empire or the bars of a cage. Once you begin to see this dynamic clearly, there is no going back. Your speech transforms into intention, calculated and unrelenting. That's when you stop being an idle spectator and become someone others watch in silence, captivated by how effortlessly you command life's stage.